It's the Wretched Radio Mail Call Delivery Bag Q&A Infotainment Nationwide Extravaganza, featuring your voicemails, correspondences, communiques, dispatches, memorandums, and missives.
Any special message for all the kids watching at home?
What we need right
Don't
now
worry, you're in good hands here at Wretched Radio. I'm a radio professional.
That is a bit above average.
Now here's your host, Todd,
Would never
freakishly
talk
tall
over
Friel.
stuff. This is Wretched Radio. Went out to the car yesterday, looked at the hood. It's started in the south. The pollen is back. So if I'm a little cracky, please forgive me for that. Would invite you to contact us one of two ways here at Wretched Radio. Beep Talk at 1-877-282-BEEP, or you can send an email to idea@wretched.org, as many people did this week regarding one person, Francis Chan. Most likely you know who he is. Francis Chan. And this kind of makes a lot of people blush, but nevertheless, he graduated from Master's Seminary. Certainly received, I think, the best seminary education you can get these days. Pastoring a large church in California, he wrote Crazy Love, became very popular on the YouTube machine, left his church, started promoting a home church movement. He's still on the speaking tour. And increasingly, he is hobnobbing with the kookiest of the kooky, the worst of the worst. And this has been going on, I'm just doing this from memory, for maybe a year. It started when he was invited to preach at IHOP. A lot of people said, Francis, do you know where you're going? So he researched it, and he decided, I can go and do this conference. I don't know what was running through his mind. I think that he's perhaps under the delusion that he can move that mess in the right direction. That's speculation. Nevertheless, he went there, and he said, quote, I love Mike Bickle. I love this guy. That isn't good. More recently, at the Send conference in Florida, Francis was seen hugging, literally hugging, Todd White. He's just a false teacher deluxe, Todd White. And he was seen praying with, real down on their knees with Heidi Baker. Cuckoo, cuckoo. We don't throw those terms around liberally here, but she is. If you've seen Drunk in the Spirit, this woman, I'm telling you, she's the one who gets drunk, falling on the floor, and hysterical laughter. That's Heidi Baker, and he's hanging out with her. Say what? Then he's seen in a picture with Benny Hinn. Now, I could perhaps understand not knowing who Heidi Baker or Todd White is if you're not initiated into that. But Benny Hinn in a picture hugging him, knowing full well that this type of stuff gets out to social media, very, very troubling. And in passing, in the context of a conversation we were having here at Wretched, I brought up Francis Chan. And I think I said something like, it is my hope that the guy isn't lost. He is definitely showing signs of straying wildly. And I think I said something like, but would I say that he's too far gone? Not at this moment. And a lot of people responded to that. And I have to tell you, thank you. All of the exchanges of everybody who either were wondering exactly what I was saying or meaning, or even challenging it, it was so well done, which is precisely the point of this thing called discernment. Here's what I see happening a lot in the discernment world, is that it's very black and white. You hear one thing, and that's the end of it. That's all I need to know is just the one thing. No consideration, no time, no hope that this is a misunderstanding, miscommunication, and it can be worked out. Just circular firing squads. And so when these people sent in these emails to challenge, it was done in the spirit of, hey, let me understand what you're talking about. Were you saying that? Did you mean by that? That's outstanding stuff. And even for the people who said, I think Francis is too far gone, I wouldn't fight with you on that. I could have said more about Francis when we talked about him on whatever day of the week it was. I could have said more, but I didn't. So let me just tell you where I think it's at with Francis. And if you disagree on this, here's here's what shouldn't happen. I shouldn't say, if you don't agree with me perfectly about Francis Chan, I can't have fellowship with you. I see that type of treatment a lot. And that is not the way we should be dealing with one another. Look, we're talking about the art and science of discernment. There's rules, there's laws here, but there's also an art. And if you disagree with me, okay. And if I disagree with you, okay. That doesn't make one of us apostate. What is your issue? You're flailing wildly.
Is it okay to call you a Bible-twisting heretic?
Well,
if
you could.
If I don't agree with you?
Like to.
Just wondering.
Did somebody?
No, I was just working on it.
Okay. You determine when I cross that line. There were some people, for instance, just in having the conversation about our tone towards certain people. Look, 4 minutes ago, I think I just labeled Heidi Baker as the kooky of the kookiest. Okay, we haven't gone soft. And yet some people said, oh, there it is. Wretched, another ministry that's gone soft. No, we haven't. We're just trying to mature. That's all. So they're still kooky, and we identify that. But there are times when you got to be slow and patient and work through and watch it. And I think that's the case with Francis Chan. On paper, he's not a heretic. He's hanging out with bad teachers. It's a trend that started, I think it was about a year ago, could be wrong. And it's not been a constant thing. It's not like he's touring with Bethel. But nevertheless, it is absolutely troubling. So this is, to be a little bit more clear and precise, I would say I wouldn't recommend Francis Chan. Would I say that he's a heretic? Not at this moment, I wouldn't. And I would be hopeful that he's not. And that he repents, recants, cleans up the mess that he's made, and then gets back to preaching better. That's where I think we're at. And by the way, the folks at Cripplegate, who usually don't write articles like this, titled this headline, Farewell Francis. He was talking about Francis Chan's appearance with Todd White, Todd Bentley, Benny Hinn. He said this in Cripplegate. I think it was Jonathan Standridge, I think it's time to say that Francis has shifted so far that he has embraced false teachers and has disqualified himself from the benefit of the doubt. Okay. I think if nothing else, he's really, really, really close to that. I think maybe just a little more time and some questions, but I can appreciate Cripplegate saying, but the benefit of the doubt. But now here's what's interesting. He now defines what he means by that. And I agree totally. So I kind of disagree with this statement, benefit of the doubt, but I agree with, the bottom line conclusion. A bad discerner would say, oh, he doesn't think you should give him the benefit of the doubt, and I do. I'm not going to read Cripplegate anymore. No, just slow down. That does not mean, writes Cripplegate, that he is a false teacher, nor that he is beyond repentance. But it does mean that, as far as me and my house, we will not only not recommend Francis Chan as a trusted resource, but I encourage you to stay away from him. I agree with that totally. He writes, now, again, this is not getting soft. Benny Hinn and Todd White are some of the most despicable people on earth. Now, Francis is hanging with them. To what degree? I don't know yet. It's been going on a little bit, and I don't know if it's 12 months, 24 months, 36 months that you give somebody. I don't know the exact number. I don't know what's going to happen in that time. I don't know what he's going to be saying in those contexts. But if we aren't there already with Francis, we're really, really close. And I agree that we should not be recommending. That's for certain. Don't recommend Francis. Don't read his stuff. Pray for him. Because hopefully he has not immersed himself into this world. Now, why would I say that maybe he's not beyond the benefit of the doubt? He just preached about the prosperity gospel and how wrong it is. And then a few days later, he was hugging Benny Hinn. A little dissonance going on there. And so we wait and see, but we don't recommend. Well, we can live with that, can't we? Do we have to call him a heretic? Let me tell you, calling somebody a heretic, that is the last thing to call somebody. You can call them crummy, a charlatan, long before heretic. So I received an email from Zach. Can we agree if Francis Chan just did this once, another strong, godly, wise man came to him and pointed out Mike Bickle's errors and Bethel and Benny Hinn, and Chan repented, I'd be grateful and rejoice. But it appears he's habitually continuing to be with false teachers and didn't take correction. I agree with you, and that is why I put him on the shelf. But then Zach writes, I would agree with you, but not with the habitual joining with false teachers. So we're not labeling him heretic, but we are warning people. Unfortunately, Francis Chan is not a reliable teacher, and we should, I think at this moment, be praying for him. Thank you for everybody who sent an email to id@wretched.org and worked through this lovingly, which is certainly the way that we should be doing it. This is Wretched Radio.